So hello everyone and welcome to Career Launcher. So good afternoon everyone. So in today's class we are going to discuss about Naxal movement because it was very much demanded by some of the students in the comment section, and that is how I take the class according to what you actually, when you request also, I take care of your request also. And I think it is actually important because recently there is something called a Salwa Judum, and it was related with Naxal movement. And this recently it was in the news. Okay. And that is why I thought, okay, let's discuss it because, of course, this is related with the current affairs topic as well. Now, Karen, tell me, have you ever recent news में अगर आप अखबार पढ़ रहे होगे, if you were reading newspaper, I'm sure you must have come across this. ये आर्टिकल पढ़ा था आपने, Salwa Judum related. Then 18 former Supreme Court judges wrote something, and against that 56 former Supreme Court judges wrote. इस तरह के आर्टिकल देखा था, judges versus judges. Have you seen this type of article? If you are reading newspaper, then only you will see these types of articles. Salwa Judum. It is related with Naxal movement. We will discuss how it is related. किसी ने नहीं देखा था ये आर्टिकल? Because I am not seeing. Yes, मतलब नहीं समझ में आया, is a different matter. Have you seen this article? ये देखा था ये वाला इस तरह का? I'm sure, because if you are reading newspaper, you should have read these things. Okay. So, if you have not understood, then no problem. I'll explain it. Okay. You should know now Salwa Judum becomes important, and that is why we'll be discussing about this. And it is related with Naxal movement. So, thoda sa aap chahoge to padhoge Human Rights Watch abuses by Salwa Judum. There is an article. Then Indian Express mein there were articles. Down to Earth was also talking about it. I did not see. नहीं, इस पर काफी आर्टिकल्स आई थी सलवा जुदूम पर. ठीक है, चलिए आएगी और आगे. तो दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट ऑफ कोर्स. यस, कुशाग्रा विल कम टू दैट. ठीक है. नाउ सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट अस बिगिन विथ नक्सल मूवमेंट. तो पहले हम लोग नक्सल मूवमेंट जानते हैं, उसके बाद हम लोग सलवा जुदूम जानेंगे, फिर वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट्स ऑर्डर रिगार्डिंग इट. The genesis of the Naxal movement lies in an incident in Naxal Badi. Naxal Badi is actually a village where an incident happened which led to the naming of the movement as Naxal movement या Naxalites. So Naxal Badi कहाँ पर जगह है, कौन सी जगह है? I'm expecting everyone to answer. Yes, very good. The right answer is option B, West Bengal. So B is the right answer. Yes, many people have answered it. And the Naxal Bari incident happened in which year? 1967, 1977, 1991, 1994. And which led to the rise of the movement being named as Naxalite movement. West Bengal was a communist stronghold. Yes, communist government was there. Communist Party of India government was there for almost 35 years. Before TMC, right? So the Naxal Badi movement happened in the year 1967. Yes, A is the right answer to this question. Now, what was the incident? Can anyone tell me? क्या हुआ था उस दिन? मतलब short में. Yes, Kushagra, Karthikeya, very good. Charu Mazumdar and Kanu Sanyal were the leaders. Huh? Can we have with your Pakistan? अच्छा Riddhibist, I will record your request. मैं देखता हूँ अगर टाइम मिलेगा, so I can arrange the class. Landouts were attacked. हाँ, so bottom line actually ये, मैं अपना डिटेल नहीं जा रहा हूँ नक्सल बाड़ी इंसिडेंट्स में. Actually what happened was there was a sort of a peasants revolt against landlords. Okay, I'm not going in that detail कि कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, etc. But this was in short. So basically, yes, peasants or the farm laborers, peasants, they actually revolted against the landlords. That's what you should know. So this is actually the beginning of Naxal Bari incident, and this led to the rise of Communist Party, like Maoist, etc. Maoism, what we call. Okay, so basically it is a fight a rural rebellion, people's war against government, etc. So पहले अब मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. This is Naxal Bari village, Darjeeling district, West Bengal. So this is the state of West Bengal. This is the state of West Bengal. Okay, है ना? तो ये वाला है, ये यहाँ से ये this is okay. यहाँ पे सिलीगुड़ी, यहाँ पे दार्जिलिंग डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, राइट? है ना? ये यहीं पे जहां पे आपको चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर जिसको कहते हैं वहीं पे. सो दार्जिलिंग डिस्ट्रिक्ट में देयर इज अ प्लेस कॉल्ड एज नक्सल बाड़ी विलेज in West Bengal. Okay, so what happens is there's a conflict that happens, and actually the in short I would say the peasants revolted against the landlords because peasants believed that the landlords were oppressive in nature. So जो विलेज जो peasants ने रिवॉल्ट किया था उनकी ये राय थी कि वो जो लैंडलॉर्ड्स है वो जुल्म कर रहे हैं, ऑपरेसिव इसीलिए. एंड दे वर लेड बाय चारू माजुमदार, कानू सल्यान एटसेट्रा. दीस टू वर द फेमस लीडर्स who are considered as the pioneer or founder of Maoism or Naxalism in India. Now, Naxalites are also called as Maoist. Why? Why are they also called as Maoist? When you read the Hindu newspaper or any other newspaper, you will see written Naxalites. या Maoist लिखा रहेगा कई बार. What is Maoist? Is it different from Naxalites? Anyone? Because they follow Mao Zedong, sir. Red corridor, I'm coming to that, Kushagra. We'll discuss. हाँ, एक्चुअली क्या है, देखो आपको ये समझना होगा. देखो बेसिकली इन चाइना, I'm sure you must have read in your school days, class 11th and 12th, class 11th, I think history book में 1949 Chinese Communist Revolution. Have you read that? So Chinese Communist Revolution के जो फाउंडर हैं, the father of the Chinese Communist Party is Mao Zedong, and they he also used the same type of armed struggle, and that is why they associate themselves with this. So that's why Maoism or Maoists and Naxalites are same thing. Maoism and Naxalism is same thing. Class 12 NCERT में. अच्छा, okay. So that is what you should know, Maoism or Naxalism. या Maoists या Naxalites. Okay. Now we'll discuss in detail. मैं आपको थोड़ा डिटेल बताऊंगा. So what happens is beginning phase वही 1960s में West Bengal, Bihar, Bengal, Odisha में spread होता है. The Communist Party of India, Marxist Leninist, led by Charu Majumdar, is actually the leader. Okay. ठीक है, तो ये आपको ध्यान रखिएगा. First thing. Now it starts spreading, etc. We will discuss it, why it was banned, etc. It's a Maoist insurgency or a armed struggle. Actually, main जो है वो armed struggle. This is the reason, of course, why it was banned. तो आप देख सकते हो. So on one side is Charu Majumdar, Kanu Sanyal, and from other side is Indira Gandhi. She was the prime minister. ठीक है, ज्योति बासु was the CM, etc. खैर, उसके बाद क्या होता है 1980s में, तो 1960s 70s हो गया. तो पहले इनिशियल ईयर्स में यहां पर रहता है ज्यादा नक्सलिज्म. इन इनिशियल फेज 1 कह सकते हो 1960s 70s में. This is the place where Naxalism was high. Kushagra, we are coming to that. CPIML is actually a confusing word. तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ. I'll come to that. ठीक है. फिर 1980s 90s में People's War Group in Andhra Pradesh Maoist Communist Center, MCC कहते थे बिहार में माओइस्ट को. So that was called as MCC. Okay, People's War Group, PWG, it was called in Andhra Pradesh. So they started attacking landlords, police, government officials, bureaucrats, because they believed that landlords are actually being supported by the government, police, etc. That is why they started attacking them. It started spreading further. और फिर बाद में आके 2004 के बाद it started spreading in छत्तीसगढ़, झारखंड, ओडिशा, महाराष्ट्र, बिहार. तो शुरू में यहां पर था, फिर धीरे धीरे घसकते घसकते यहां पर आने लगा. Okay, so there was a time when in this entire region was the Naxalism affected region. This is called as red corridor. Okay. Okay. Now अब आप ये देख सकते हो, this was actually around 2007-8. This much region was affected. Later on, it started reducing it, and now today it is somewhere here. So this is a small region called as red corridor. This is the place where you will find Naxalism today. Red corridor is the place where Naxalite affected areas of India is called as red corridor. इतना समझ लेना, ठीक है? तो अगर आपको आज समझना है तो ये वाला हिस्सा है ना, तो this region is very much affected. ओके हाँ, तो इसमें जो है सबसे पहले तो ये बस्तर है, बस्तर डिवीजन ऑफ छत्तीसगढ़. फिर यहाँ पर महाराष्ट्र का गढ़चिरौली डिस्ट्रिक्ट है ना, गढ़चिरौली ये काफी अफेक्टेड है. भाई बस्तर में ही आता है दांतेवाड़ा, आपने नाम सुना होगा आई एम श्योर. फिर यहाँ पे और कुछ ओडिशा के कुछ स्टेट्स है. सो रफली इस रीजन में टुडे यू विल फाइंड रेड कॉरिडोर और नक्सल अफेक्टेड रीजन. ओके, दैट इज व्हाट यू शुड बी नोइंग. ये क्लियर हुआ? इज इट क्लियर? यस और नो? नहीं, बिरसा मुंडा तो अलग है, वो 1799 में था. दैट्स वी आर नॉट, हाँ, that's different. Is this clear? Red corridor. This is the Naxal affected region. Officially, Government of India calls it as LWE, left wing extremism. Left wing extremism region. Left wing extremism affected region is called as red corridor. अच्छा, अब एक चीज गौर करना, earlier it was peasant movement in these regions, peasants against landlords. Initially started like this, but today it is somewhere in this region, and they are mostly tribals, and mostly against, you can say, government or that's the idea. So currently it is more controlled by the tribals. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about. Now, so of course अगर आप देखोगे started Naxal Bari है ना, Chadu Majumdar and Kanu Sanyal were the original ones. So they are impacted by the idea of communism, the Karl Marx idea of communism, and which is similar to Maoism. We'll discuss it. Peak strength, now it is in declining phase after 2010. You can see it has declined. So around 2007-8, this much area was affected. Now it got reduced 2013, and then further 2018, it is this region only, and some portion of Jharkhand and all. So काफी कम region में अब बचा है. Okay. So these were the reasons, like they believed that there is feudal, the landlords are exploiting us. The tribals believe that their land has been snatched. The mining caused, actually minings and dams, industrial project, these impacted the tribals, and the tribals believe that they are being displaced, and this helped Naxalism grow. Like Naxalites convinced them that okay, to be like to take up arms or something like that. So these are poverty and lack of development. These were the reasons why actually the Naxalites could convince them to actually take up the arms. But again, the thing is, we are living in a democracy. If you have to even disagree with the government or oppose with the government, you have to use non-violent method. Okay, because we are living in a established democratic country. तो अगर आपको अपनी बात कहनी है, अपनी आइडियोलॉजी कहनी है, अपनी बात कहनी है, so you have to, है ना. नेपाल में माओइस्ट शायद है, I'm not sure about that. हाँ, but there are some communist parties are there. I'm not sure about Maoist in Nepal. Fair. So we are talking about the idea, the original idea flows from communism, which was given by Karl Marx. But today's actually Naxalism is very much more inspired by Maoism. Maoism भी एक तरह का communism ही होता है. I'm sure you must be aware. So Mao Zedong was the founder of Chinese Communist Party, which brought in 1949 Chinese Communist Revolution. Okay, and it was Mao Zedong was primarily, this revolt was peasant against landlords. जबकि जो कार्ल मार्क्स ने फिलॉसफी दी थी, it was workers against capitalist. ये कार्ल मार्क्स की फिलॉसफी थी. Okay. And Mao was actually, Mao's philosophy was like they implemented communism, but it was actually mainly peasants against the landlords in China. And that's why the same was implemented. So they said that's why the Naxalites, the Naxal body, they were very much inspired by that idea of Mao's communism, you can say. Proletariat was bourgeois, we are not going in that detail, but आपको एक rough idea होना चाहिए. Okay. Now some people have confusion. वही आप पूछ रहे थे CPIML के बारे में. देखो एक I'll actually, that is what I wanted to say. There are political parties associated with left wing. I have told you that if you are using non-violent way, you can have any ideology in India, right wing, left wing, center wing, or any other wing. अगर आप non-violent way में अपनी बात कहते हो, अगर if you are a part of parliamentary democracy, you come fight election, become a part of it, then of course you can have any ideology. For example, Communist Party of India is there. It is a part of, I mean, they have MPs. They are also left wing ideology, but they are not banned under UAPA because of course they are non-violent. Similarly, there is CPI. This is CPI Marxist, not Maoist. This is again a legal organization. ठीक है, इन्हीं की गवर्नमेंट थी. For 35 years they had the chief minister in West Bengal before Mamata Banerjee came to power. Even they have a hold in Kerala also. ठीक है. Then ये सब तो इतना important नहीं है, less famous है. अब देखो क्या है. एक है CPI Maoist. This is a banned organization under UAPA. Because underground, why? Because they are doing armed struggle. So again, the difference between the two is only because of violence and non-violence. Both are as a left-wing organizations. Communist Party of India, first government in Kerala, right? Okay. So UAPA is an Unlawful Activities and Prevention Act. This is a law which bans terrorist organizations in India. Okay. This तो आप देख सकते हो इसके इसमें लिखा है ना, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया, मार्क्सिस्ट लेनिनिस्ट, पीपल्स वॉर, ये वाली बैंड है. Maoist Communist Center, which was there in Bihar, it's banned. Okay. Then Communist Party of India Maoist, this is banned. But CPI Marxist, जो CPI-M है भी, जो Communist Party of India Marxist, this is not banned. ये Maoist वाला banned है. There is one more political party in Bihar called as CPI-ML, Communist Party of India Marxist Leninist. ये legal है. In fact, there are MLAs also in Bihar. And this is CPI-ML People's War. This is banned. Both similar name है, both close name है, so people get confused. Okay. So there are two very famous political parties named as CPI and CPI-M, जिसको CPM भी लिखते हैं. These are legal. These are political parties fighting elections. But अगर CPI Maoist लिखा है, so this is banned. Maoist Communist Center, this is banned. CPI-ML People's War, this is banned. But there is political party CPI-ML, I think something similar in Bihar, but that is legal. But the idea ये कि नाम बहुत similar है, so people, you can get confused. Okay, so that's why I have explained. ठीक है ना? Is it clear? ये concept clear हुआ? So banned under UAP, Unlawful Activities and Prevention Act, which declares the militant or terrorist organizations. Okay, these are small thing, लेकिन आपको पता होना चाहिए. So what is the difference between getting banned or not getting banned? Not because of left-wing ideology, but because of violence or non-violence. Because ये लोग भी तो left-wing ideology, ठीक है? So of course, if you want to assert your opinion, of course you can put it in a non-democratic way by fighting election, by filing petitions, by different means. है ना? That's the idea behind this. हाँ, Raymond Magsaysay award पर, yes, I saw the news. Phoenix, we will discuss. ठीक है? हाँ. तो जैसे ये सब पार्टी, सीपीआई ये पार्टी मैंने बताया सीपीआई मार्क्सिस्ट है, दिस इज द पार्टी, नेशनल पार्टी है ये. इनफैक्ट इनकी वेस्ट बंगाल में है ना, देयर वाज गवर्नमेंट फॉर 35 इयर्स. एक है कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया मार्क्सिस्ट लेनिनिस्ट लिबरेशन, ये बिहार में एक पार्टी है. दिस इज अ लीगल पार्टी. ये सब लीगल पार्टी की बात. ऑल इंडिया फॉरवर्ड ब्लॉक रेवोल्यूशनरी सोशलिस्ट पार्टी, दीज आर लीगल पार्टीज. दीज आर देयर, दे हैव एमएलएस एमपीज आल्सो लाइक सीपीआई एमएल. हाँ, अब देखो नाम कितना क्लोज है. ये वाली पार्टी लीगल है इंडिया में, है ना? एंड दे आर हैविंग पॉलिटिकल like they are having MLAs also in Bihar. And similarly CPI Marxist Leninist People's War, this is banned. तो इतना क्लोज नेम है कि it's very difficult to find to differentiate sometimes. ठीक है? Yes, CPI was the largest opposition party, right? Krishi Sachdeva. ये largest initial में largest opposition party थी. They had government in Kerala, first non-Congress government. First non-Congress government. इसे NCERT में लिखा हुआ होगा 1957 और 59 है ना 57 में. Yes, very good, Krishi Sachdeva. Good. These are written in NCERT books. ठीक है. Okay, so I think it's clear, right? Now let's talk about famous operations against Naxal movement. है ना? So the most famous one is Operation Green Hunt, 2009 से 2017. CRPF and state police in Chhattisgarh, mostly Chhattisgarh, I think start हुआ था, but in all the other states were there. So this is a very famous operation led by Central Reserve Police Force, CRPF and state police. Then 1971 का एक बहुत famous है Operation Steeple Chase. Okay, during Indira Gandhi government. Then Operation Hakka was there. ये थोड़ा less famous है बस्तर district में. थोड़ा सा पता होना चाहिए. देखो ये famous है Green Hunt and Steeple Chase are more famous. Most famous ये वाला है Green Hunt. ठीक है. Then Operation Hakka was there in 2012. Operation Monsoon, Operation Prahar. ठीक है. आप देख सकते हो सुकमा, बस्तर. एक बार क्या होता है सुकमा के डीएम को abduct कर लिया गया था. Alex Paul Menon was the district magistrate, and I think I'm talking about almost 13, 14, 15 years back. So the district magistrate was abducted, but later on, बाद में his bodyguards were, I think, as far as I remember, they were killed, but he survived. Like after he got released later on. Then Operation Double Bull, ये सभी operations था, but सबसे most famous है ये Green Hunt is very famous. ठीक है. And Steeple Chase भी थोड़ा सा famous है, but that's what you should know. Similarly, forces involved in the operation, if I ask, then of course CAPF, Central Armed Police Force, तो ये सारे CAPF कहलाते हैं, CRPF, BSF, ITBP, CISF है ना. So Cobra Battalion बहुत famous है. It's a part of CRPF only. Central Reserve Police Force is having a separate Cobra Battalion, Commando Battalion for Resolute Action, that's called. And that was very much ahead in Anti-Naxal operation, ANO. That is what you should be knowing about. Then State Police Force में ये दोनों बहुत famous है. District Reserve Guard and Greyhounds, ये काफी famous हुआ था एक time पर. So these two are very famous police forces. District Reserve Guard आपने सुना होगा कई बार. वैसे और भी है, all four are important, but these two are more important. Then intelligence are provided by IB and NIA also helps, etc. ठीक है. So these are prominent things related with Naxal movement. Now major initiatives. Now government has to counter it. So पहला तो Green Hunt we have discussed. Now this is a very detailed initiative of government of India to fight the Ministry of Home Affairs to fight the idea of Naxalism. So smart leadership, है ना, aggressive strategy, motivation, training, actionable intelligence, dashboard based KPIs, harnessing technology. ठीक है, इसको थोड़ा सा पढ़ ले. नो एक्सेस यानी फाइनेंस नहीं पहुंच सके, एक्शन प्लान. इसमें दो चीजें होती है ऑलवेज. एक है कॉम्बैट, नॉन कॉम्बैट, है ना. कॉम्बैट मींस if they are taking up the guns, we have to counter it with the guns. But non-combat means ensure that development should be there. Why? Because poverty also pushes them towards Naxalism. So if they are less poor, if there is more jobs, there is less likelihood that the youths will join Naxalism. Okay? एक बहुत famous quote है ना, Aristotle का, poverty is the parent of revolution, इस तरह करके कुछ है स्टेटमेंट ना, parent of revolution and crime, Aristotle's quote. So if you give them jobs, if the youths are busy in doing education, learning, skill learning, education or jobs, so chances of them joining Naxalism will be lesser, very less. So the idea is actually to train them, है ना, to give them education. जैसे एक बहुत famous program है aspirational district program. So in this program, actually, I think somewhere around 110 or 112 districts were highlighted, the poor, low productivity or poor districts. And to implement, this idea was to implement the government schemes in a more effective and coordinated fashion so that the poor districts of India, they get more benefit. And actually left-wing extremism affected regions are more, in those cases, actually they are more poor states or districts. So for them, actually, it was very important that development should happen. Development should happen. Skill should be given to the youths. Jobs should be given to the youths so that the Naxalism will wither away. That was the idea. Sir, इंटरनेशनल के लिए NIA क्या काम है? NIA देखो एनआईए, अच्छा आप ये पूछ रहे हो कि एनआईए का क्या काम है? ये एंटी टेररिस्ट एजेंसी है, आईबी इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड करती है, बट एनआईए के पास अरेस्ट का पावर होता है, ठीक है? एंटी टेररिज्म ऑपरेशन में एनआईए का भी रोल होता है, ऑफ कोर्स इट वाज क्रिएटेड आफ्टर 26/11 टेररिस्ट अटैक, ठीक है? तो ये आपको क्लियर हो गया। एंड उसकी वजह से रिहैबिलिटेशन एंड सरेंडर पॉलिसीज होती है, गवर्नमेंट ये बोलती है कि अच्छा ठीक है, यू हैव टेकन अप द आर्म्स, वी विल टॉक, मतलब आप छोड़ दो नक्सलिज्म, and we will allow you to join, we will help your children to join schools etc and give them your privileges of jobs etc. तो बहुत सारे स्कीम्स चलाई जाती है गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा, okay? The schemes are being run so that those who are taking up the arms, they are convinced, okay, leave your arms and come to the mainstream, we will provide you jobs, education, we will provide education. तो rehabilitation ही बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, rehabilitation and surrender policies, कि कुछ आप उसको इंसेंटिव दो कि वो छोड़ के आ जाए आर्म्स को, है ना? That is the idea behind this. And legal measures तो वही है ना, if they are attacking us then of course they'll be suppressed. That is the idea behind this. Okay, yes. Now अब हम लोग जानते हैं सलवा जुदूम, और इस पर भी रिसेंटली जजमेंट आया था, रिसेंटली न्यूज में था, that's why we are discussing it. What happened was when Naxalism was at its peak in Chhattisgarh in Dantewada district, okay, when Mr. Raman Singh was the chief minister of Chhattisgarh, there was a local Congress MLA. He was from BJP, but he was from the local MLA. Mr. Mahendra Karma was from Congress MLA. He was a local tribal leader. He organized Salwa Judum, or a peace march, in Gondi. Gondi is a language. Gond tribe is there, so there's a language. So Salwa Judum. So basically, this is Dantewada again in the Chhattisgarh, वही बस्तर district में, बस्तर region में, और बस्तर division में Dantewada. So what happened was initially Salwa Judum was actually an anti-Naxal movement, कह लो एक तरह से, anti-Naxal. So people were fed up with the Naxalism, so they decided to start fight against. Initially there were village tribal youths who had appealed against Naxalism, but over a period of time they got support from the government etc. Now when they got the support of the government, actually it is said that Salwa Judum became very powerful. They had got the government police support etc, and because of which it is said there were allegations against Salwa Judum that perhaps Salwa Judum gone on the other side, instead of just fighting Naxalism, they did a lot of operation also. मतलब इन पर ये इल्जाम लगने लगा, ये तो एक एंटी नक्सल मूवमेंट खड़ा किया गया था, इसको गवर्नमेंट का एक तरह से सपोर्ट भी था, स्पेशल पुलिस ऑफिसर्स जो बनाए गए थे, I mean, these are not official police officers, these were actually the members of Salwa Judum to fight against Naxalism. Okay, okay, but National Human Rights Commission और Human Rights Watch वगैरह ने this practice को condemn किया था. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about. Now what happened was the matter was went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court banned Salwa Judum. So which judgment of Supreme Court banned Salwa Judum, and this was in the news recently. तो सालवा जुदूम को कह सकते हैं एंटी नक्सल मूवमेंट एक तरह से, एंड व्हाई इट वाज बैंड? The right answer is Nandini Sundar case, very important. B is the right answer. And why it was in the news? So B is the right answer. The Supreme Court of India declared Salwa Judum unconstitutional in Nandini Sundar versus State of Chhattisgarh case. Disband Salwa Judums and disarm SPOs. Because these were not police officers which were recruited through a government exam. These were actually local people who were part of Salwa Judum. And there were allegations of human rights violation. Okay? Yes, इसीलिए इस पर आर्टिकल्स आ रही थी. And why it was like, हाँ नहीं, overruled नहीं हुआ. The two judgments of Supreme Court declared this unconstitutional. Why? Because if the government has to fight Naxalism, the police and the CRPF should fight. The government should fight, not some other. They cannot outsource it to some other agency or some other village group men. Okay? मतलब कि अगर नक्सलिज्म को फाइट करना है तो पुलिस, सीआरपीएफ, आर्मी ये जाके फाइट करेगी, किसी और को आप नहीं दे सकते. कोई और स्पेशल पुलिस ऑफिसर नहीं, जो लोकल विलेजमैन थे, वो आर फाइटिंग, व्हिच वर पार्ट ऑफ सलवा जुदूम. यू कैन नॉट give them, you cannot support them to fight against Naxalite. Okay, तो उसमें जो जजेस थे, देयर वर जस्टिस बी सुदर्शन रेड्डी एंड जस्टिस एस एस निज्जर, एंड बी सुदर्शन रेड्डी इज नाउ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट कैंडिडेट ऑफ अपोजिशन. इज इट क्लियर? आप समझ में आया क्यों न्यूज में थे? इज इट क्लियर? Is it clear? It is important. It was in the news. That's why I'm saying. है ना, शुरू में पब्लिक अवेयरनेस कैंपेन लॉन्च किया गया था जन जागरण नाम से, है ना. लेटर ऑन इट बिकेम अ स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड मिलिशिया. स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड मींस गवर्नमेंट सपोर्टेड अगेंस्ट द एंटी-नक्सल मूवमेंट, राइट? But what happened was कि Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy and Justice S.S. Nijjar passed an order banning it in Nandri Sundar case, that it should be immediately disbanded, and it is unconstitutional because the government cannot outsource it to some other force. It should be the CRPF, CISF, army, military, which should be suppressing the Naxalism. Okay, so now Mr. Justice Reddy is the vice president candidate. So Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, had said that if Justice Reddy would not have passed this order, then of Salwa Judum, then by 2020 Naxalite would have been over. तो इस पे थोड़ा सा हंगामा हो गया था कि होम मिनिस्टर सामने कह दिया कि अगर जस्टिस सुदर्शन रेड्डी जी का ये ऑर्डर नहीं आता तो अब तक नक्सलिज्म खत्म हो चुका होता. दैट इज व्हाट ही सेड. खैर, सो सलवा जुदूम के बारे में चाहो तो आप पढ़ सकते हो कि इनिशियली ऑफ कोर्स देयर वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ आवर विलेज, है ना, जन जागरण public awareness campaign against Maoism, but over a period of time there was an armed struggle against anti-Naxal operations, started support by Mr. Mahendra Karma. Okay, and they were designated, वो विलेज में जो लोग थे उन लोगों को स्पेशल पुलिस ऑफिसर बना दिया गया. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about it, है ना. तो इनिशियली ऑर्डिनरी विलेजेस था, तो इसमें कुछ चीजें, अनदर पुलिस ऑफिसर जैसे इसमें लिखा हुआ है इसी आर्टिकल में. पहले इसको जन जागरण कहते थे, बाद में सलवा जुदूम बन गया था. जो पेटिशनर थी उन्होंने ये कहा कि सलवा जुदूम एक्चुअली वाज वायलेटिंग ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन ऑफ द लोकल ट्राइबल. देयर वर इंसिडेंट्स ऑफ विलेजेस बीइंग बर्न डाउन, एंड स्पेशली इन आंध्र प्रदेश, तेलंगाना, एंड मेनी वेर किल्ड एंड मेनी वुमेन हैड सफर्ड crime against them. So a scale of human rights violation was very high or very peak. That is what the petitioner said. So नंदरी सुंदर जी ने जो पेटिशन डाला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, उसमें ये कहा था कि सलवा जुदूम जो है वो ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन कर रही है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई, एंड देन द मैटर वेंट टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट फाइनली बैंड इट. फिर जब ये सब बात आई तो जस्टिस सुदर्शन रेड्डी जी ने कहा कि आई वाज नॉट प्रो नक्सल, आई डिड नॉट सपोर्ट नक्सलिज्म, आई जस्ट सेड that the Supreme Court said that center not to fight the Naxal, but the state cannot outsource its responsibility. ये मेन चीज था कि लोगों को प्रोटेक्ट करना गवर्नमेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. If the Naxals are attacking people, then the government's responsibility, the police, the CRPF, they have the responsibility to suppress the Naxalism, and it should not be outsourced to Salwa Judum, which in itself is not a part of police force, rather they are part of group of village men, etc. मतलब किसी और को नहीं दे सकते. सुप्रीम उन्होंने सुदर्शन रेड्डी साहब ने क्लैरिफाई किया कि मैंने जो जजमेंट दिया था वो ये दिया था, वो मैंने प्रो नक्सल जजमेंट नहीं था, बल्कि मेरा ये कहने का मतलब था कि आप किसी और को नहीं फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हो, यानी किसी और की को जिम्मेदारी नहीं दे सकते हो नक्सलिज्म को खत्म करने की. दैट इज व्हाट ही हैज सेड. खैर, so these are the things, है ना. abdication of constitutional responsibility, ये कोर्ट में लिखा है, that was the judgment of Supreme Court in 2011. abdication of constitutional responsibility of the state to provide appropriate security to citizens have an appropriately trained professional public force, है ना. मतलब ये है कि आप constitutional responsibility छोड़ नहीं सकते हो, आपकी जिम्मेदारी, यानी it is the job of the police force and the state government and the central government to ensure, है ना, they have exclusive right to use violence. It is the state alone can use power. मतलब है कि and we cannot outsource it. You cannot give this to some other people. It should be you who should be suppressing the Naxal movement. That is what the judge had said. These two judges, Justice Reddy and Justice S.S. Nijjar, had said. Justice Reddy is now the vice president candidate. Okay, so this was in the news. Okay, is it clear? Is this clear? So यही उस टाइप का न्यूज में था. कि मिस्टर अमित शाह had said on that. तो उसके अगेंस्ट में क्या हुआ ना, 18 retired judges, former Supreme Court judges, they said, these are the 18 retired judges, they said कि Mr. Amit Shah should avoid commenting on this Supreme Court judgment because the Supreme Court had passed an order irrespective of the political ideologies. So that is what they had said. And if there is a presidential election is happening, then it should be dealt in a civil way, etc. तो ये 18 Supreme Court के judges ने लिखा था, former ex Supreme Court judges wrote to Mr. Amit Shah that you should avoid commenting on this. So in response to that, the 56 former Supreme Court judges said against these 18 former Supreme Court judges, कि why are you commenting on that? This is not correct. उनके रिस्पॉन्स में 56 सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस ने लिखा, एंड दीज इंक्लूडेड है ना जस्टिस गोगोई एंड अदर्स, आप देख सकते हो ये सब थे ना, जस्टिस पी सता शिवम, ए के सिकरी, एम आर शाह. तो उन लोगों ने ये कहा कि कहाँ लिखा, मतलब वही कहा कि आप लोग उस पर कमेंट मत कीजिए, देयर इज नो नीड टू कमेंट. Judicial independence is not threatened by criticism of political candidate, what truly tarnishes the reputation of judiciary is when former judges repeatedly issue partisan statement. मतलब उन्होंने ये कहा, so these 56 judges said that these 18 judges have given partisan statements. Partisan statements means favoring one party or not neutral. That is what it happened. तो खैर हमको इसमें नहीं जाना, इनके डिबेट में फ्रिक्शंस में नहीं जाना है कि कौन सही है कौन गलत है, बट वी शुड नो अबाउट सलवा जुदुम. ये पता होना चाहिए, what is Salwa Judum, what is Naxalite movement, why the current vice president candidate of opposition is in the news. He had earlier served as a Supreme Court judge who passed an order against Salwa Judum. ये कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होना चाहिए, ठीक है. अब इनकी लड़ाई में नहीं जाना कि कौन सही कौन गलत है. दैट हैज टू बी वेरी क्रिस्टल क्लियर. इज इट क्लियर? आपको कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया? यस और नो? इज इट क्लियर? होपफुली, ठीक है. So this is all about today's class. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, share this video. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.